the meantime. JoJo, both supports down for Westmont Hilltop, and Penn Manor just doesn't miss a beat in this. I mean, talk about a team playing almost flawlessly here together. As we congratulate them with a big GG's. It was a hard-fought day by Central Buck South and Westmont Hilltop as they put on one heck of a show for us. But at the end of the day, there can only be one winner, and Penn Manor closes it out in dominating fashion.
Aggression. We're going to be seeing the fight coming out from the Venture. There's going to be the wall coming on from the Baptiste, but Leaf versus Boy going to be able to find a double kill with the ultimate, make it a quadra, make it a penta. But you can't call them losers just yet. We see the overclock getting popped. Artie finds one, continuing their domination. Oh my god, Q! Artie unable to be stopped, dominating the battlefield.
Buck South, but they have now regained it by taking out the Cassidy. The anti-nade falls onto the Bastion, and with that being said, it is just a matter of cleaning up the front and back line.
Here, just dive forward.
Auto Glasses get used alongside the Death Blossom. I mean, that is just a free entryway for Wrong Long.
2 HP, now 0. And slamming the back, walking out of spawn. Homa Center simply not allowed to breathe.
This is disrespectful. The tank is the one doing the fight. You can see like DPS players doing this sometimes if they're on a tracer. One gets found, two gets found. Both DPS are down for the count. Make it a triple, make it a quadra. Silence gonna bring this team back on into the driver's seat.
We asked 10 Mountie Esports players 10 specific questions, and these are their answers.
Watermelon Ice from Gamer Subs.
Ghost Energy, either the cans or the pre-workout, either work.
So I used to be a Ghost favorite, but now
Too long.
White Monster for sure.
Monster, the Fantasy Red Ruby.
The Mountie GG Gamer Subs that they provide. Taco Bell, absolutely.
McDonald's is so much better.
Taco Bell has to be. I've eaten too much McDonald's since it's right down the street.
McDonald's. I like the Oreo McFlurries.
I'm gonna choose Taco Bell because it gives me less stomach problems than McDonald's does.
McDonald's all the way.
There's levels to this, and Taco Bell is at the top one.
Sheets guy all the way.
I actually don't know what Wawa is, but sheets.
I gotta say Wawa. I grew up with Wawa, and I just think the food's better.
Sheets is the best thing to grace our planet.
I'd have to go with Sheets. Definitely rough.
Injustice, no J-Naps.
Hydron, probably.
Probably T-Crow.
Either Skippy or T-Crow.
Croc.
Pokemon Red for the Game Boy Color.
Webkins. That was the first video game I've ever played, Webkins. Oh my God.
League of Legends. Sadly, that was the first game. That's one of the only games that I play. I just enjoy it so much.
Mario Kart 7 on the DS.
No bully.
Probably PGE. Some of the top maps.
Definitely PGE.
Angry Ginge or somebody in that realm, like Speed and stuff, they're pretty funny.
Probably my dorm.
Definitely Birchie.
I think the pond has been the greatest exclusive in life.
The library, it just got renovated, much nicer, much quieter.
Definitely my room.
Probably the IT area in the library.
Yes, I love snowboarding. I've been snowboarding my whole life. Are you a snow person?
Not really, no. I don't really like the cold a whole lot.
I prefer summer.
Only for playing Snow Day in Rocket League.
No.
Yeah, I love snow.
Oh yeah, I mean, I'm from upstate New York.
I love snow. I think it's so fun.
I think I would play, I don't even know. That's the only game that I play.
Probably competitive TF2.
Probably Rivals, yeah.
I'd probably just play Trackmania.
I think the culture at Smash is insane. I would love to play Smash.
I'd probably play Madden.
Gotta be Mount Aloysius College. You can't beat them.
Mounties, obviously.
I'm Aloysius, of course.
Oh my gosh, this isn't the question. Mountie Esports.
I mean, gotta be the Mounties, right? The culture here is unmatched.
The Mount Aloysius esports program.
Obviously, Mount Aloysius.
You're looking at it.
Gotta be the Mounties Esports.
Cool.
You have more important things in life to think about than your internet. At BreezeLine, we propel life forward with home internet so reliable, you don't have to think about it. With a team that goes above and beyond, fiber-powered speeds up to 1 gig, and 99.9% reliability at any hour, in any room. You won't have to think about your internet again. Go to breezeline.com for internet that propels life forward.
Here at Mountain Esports, we take it to the next level. Our players have the ability to travel, compete, and even participate on the caffeine committee. Check out the Insta to see what's new with Mountain Esports today.
At the Mount, things are, well, elevated. And it's not just because we're on a mountain. The experience at a small college like Mount Aloysius is actually personal. The faculty and staff know my goals. It's a level of support you won't find at other colleges. And the Mount backs it up with career-focused partnerships and majors. As soon as I visited, it just felt like home. That's what makes this place different. Makes college elevated. Mount Aloysius College.
the meantime, JoJo, both supports down for Westmont Hilltop, and Penn Manor just doesn't miss a beat in this. I mean, talk about a team playing almost flawlessly here together. As we congratulate them with a big GG's. It was a hard-fought day by Central Buck South and Westmont Hilltop as they put on one heck of a show for us. But at the end of the day, there can only be one winner, and Penn Manor closes it out in dominating fashion.
Aggression. We're going to be seeing the fight coming out from the venture. There's going to be the wall coming on from the Baptiste, but Leaf versus Boy going to be able to find a double kill with the ultimate, make it a quadra, make it a penta. But you can't call them losers just yet. We see the overclock getting popped. Artie finds one, continuing their domination. Oh my god, Q! Artie unable to be stopped, dominating the battlefield.
Buck South, but they have now regained it by taking out the Cassidy. The anti-nade falls onto the Bastion, and with that being said, it is just a matter of cleaning up the front and back line.
Just dive forward.
Auto Blasters get used alongside the Death Blossom. I mean, that is just a free entryway for Wrong Long.
2 HP, now 0. And slamming the back, walking out of spawn. Homer Center simply not allowed to breathe.
This is disrespectful. The tank is the one doing the fight. You can see like DPS players doing this sometimes if they're on a tracer. One gets found, two gets found. Both DPS are down for the count. Make it a triple, make it a quadra. Silence gonna bring this team back on into the driver's seat.
We asked 10 Mountie esports players 10 specific questions, and these are their answers.
Watermelon Ice from Gamer Subs.
Ghost Energy, either the cans or the pre-workout, either work.
So I used to be a Ghost favorite, but now
Too long. White Monster for sure.
Monster, the Fantasy Red Ruby.
The Mountie GG Gamer Subs that they provide.
Taco Bell, absolutely.
McDonald's is so much better.
Taco Bell has to be. I've eaten too much McDonald's since it's right down the street.
McDonald's. I like the Oreo McFlurries.
I'm gonna choose Taco Bell because it gives me less stomach problems than McDonald's does.
McDonald's all the way.
There's levels to this, and Taco Bell is at the top one.
Sheets guy all the way.
I actually don't know what Wawa is, but sheets.
I gotta say Wawa. I grew up with Wawa, and I just think the food's better.
Sheets is the best thing to grace our planet.
I'd have to go with Sheets.
Definitely rough.
Injustice, no J-Naps.
High ground, probably.
Probably T-Corral.
Either Skippy or T-Corral.
Croc.
Pokemon Red for the Game Boy Color.
Webkins. That was the first video game I've ever played. Webkins. Oh my god.
League of Legends. Sadly, that was the first game. That's one of the only games that I play. I just enjoy it so much.
Mario Kart 7 on the DS.
No bully.
Probably PGE. Some of the top maps.
Definitely PGE.
Angry Ginge or somebody in that realm, like Speed and stuff, they're pretty funny.
Probably my dorm.
Definitely Birchie.
I think the pond is one of the greatest schools you can buy.
The library, it just got renovated and much nicer, much quieter.
Definitely my room.
Probably the IT area in the library.
Yes, I love snowboarding. I've been snowboarding my whole life. Are you a snow person?
Not really, no. I don't really like the cold a whole lot.
I prefer summer.
Only for playing Snow Day in Rocket League.
No.
Yeah, I love snow.
Oh yeah, I mean I'm from upstate New York.
I love snow. I think it's so fun.
I think I would play, I don't even know. That's the only game that I play.
Probably competitive TF2.
Probably Rivals, you know.
I'd probably just play Trackmania.
I think the culture at Smash is insane. I would love to play Smash.
I'd probably play Madden.
Gotta be Mount Aloysius College. You can't beat them.
Mounties, obviously.
Mount Aloysius, of course.
Oh my gosh, this isn't the question. Mountie Esports.
I mean, gotta be the Mounties, right? The culture here is unmatched.
The Mount Aloysius esports program.
Obviously, Mount Aloysius.
You're looking at it.
Gotta be the Mounties Esports.
Cool.
You have more important things in life to think about than your internet. At BreezeLine, we propel life forward with home internet so reliable, you don't have to think about it. With a team that goes above and beyond. Fiber-powered speeds up to 1 gig. And 99.9% reliability at any hour. In any room. You won't have to think about your internet again. Go to breezeline.com for internet that propels life forward.
Here at Mountain Esports, we take it to the next level. Our players have the ability to travel, compete, and even participate on the caffeine committee. Check out the Insta to see what's new with Mountain Esports today.
At the Mount, things are, well, elevated. And it's not just because we're on a mountain. The experience at a small college like Mount Aloysius is actually personal. The faculty and staff know my goals. It's a level of support you won't find at other colleges. And the Mount backs it up with career-focused partnerships and majors. As soon as I visited, it just felt like home. That's what makes this place different. Makes college elevated. Mount Aloysius College.
In the meantime, JoJo, both supports down for Westmont Hilltop, and Pin Manor just doesn't miss a beat in this. I mean, talk about a team playing almost flawlessly here together. As we congratulate them with a big GG's. It was a hard-fought day by Central Buck South and Westmont Hilltop as they put on one heck of a show for us. But at the end of the day, there can only be one winner, and Pin Manor closes it out in dominating fashion.
Aggression. We're going to be seeing the fight coming out from the venture. There's going to be the wall coming on from the Baptiste, but Leaf versus Bull going to be able to find a double kill with the ultimate, make it a quadra, make it a penta. But you can't call them losers just yet. We see the overclock getting popped. Artie finds one, continuing their domination. Oh my god, Q! Artie unable to be stopped, dominating the battlefield.
Buck South, but they have now regained it by taking out the Cassidy. The anti-nade falls onto the Bastion, and with that being said, it is just a matter of cleaning up the front and back line.
Just dive forward.
Auto Blasts get used alongside the Death Blossom. I mean, that is just a free entryway for Wrong Long.
2 HP, now 0. And slamming the back, walking out of spawn. Homer Center simply not allowed to breathe.
This is disrespectful. The tank is the one doing the fight. You can see like DPS players doing this sometimes if they're on a tracer. One gets found, two gets found. Both DPS are down for the count. Make it a triple, make it a quadra. Silence gonna bring this team back on into the driver's seat.
We asked 10 Mountie esports players 10 specific questions, and these are their answers.
Watermelon Ice from Gamer Subs.
Ghost Energy, either the cans or the pre-workout, either work.
So I used to be a Ghost favorite, but now
Too long. White Monster for sure.
Monster, the Fantasy Red Ruby.
The Mountie GG Gamer Subs that they provide.
Taco Bell, absolutely.
McDonald's is so much better.
Taco Bell has to be. I've eaten too much McDonald's since it's right down the street.
McDonald's. I like the Oreo McFlurries.
I'm gonna choose Taco Bell because it gives me less stomach problems than McDonald's does.
McDonald's all the way.
There's levels to this, and Taco Bell is at the top one.
Sheets guy all the way.
I actually don't know what Wawa is, but sheets.
I gotta say Wawa. I grew up with Wawa, and I just think the food's better.
Sheets is the best thing to grace our planet.
I'd have to go with Sheets.
Definitely rough.
Injustice, no J-Naps.
Hydron, probably.
Probably T-Corral.
Either Skippy or T-Corral.
Croc.
Pokemon Red for the Game Boy Color.
Webkins. That was the first video game I've ever played. Webkins. Oh my god.
League of Legends. Sadly, that was the first game. That's one of the only games that I play. I just enjoy it so much.
Mario Kart 7 on the DS.
No bully.
Probably PGE. Some of the top maps.
Definitely PGE.
Angry Ginge or somebody in that realm, like Speed and stuff, they're pretty funny.
Probably my dorm.
Definitely Birchie.
I think the pond has been the greatest exclusive in that.
The library, it just got renovated and much nicer, much quieter.
Definitely my room.
Probably the IT area in the library.
Yes, I love snowboarding. I've been snowboarding my whole life. Are you a snow person?
Not really, no. I don't really like the cold a whole lot.
I prefer summer.
Only for playing Snow Day in Rocket League.
No.
Yeah, I love snow.
Oh yeah, I mean I'm from upstate New York.
I love snow. I think it's so fun.
I think I would play, I don't even know. That's the only game that I play.
Probably competitive TF2.
Probably Rivals, you know.
I'd probably just play Trackmania.
I think the culture at Smash is insane. I would love to play Smash.
I'd probably play Madden.
Gotta be Mount Aloysius College, you can't beat them.
Mounties, obviously.
Mount Aloysius, of course.
Oh my gosh, this isn't the question. Mountie Esports.
I mean, gotta be the Mounties, right? The culture here is unmatched.
The Mount Aloysius esports program.
Obviously, Mount Aloysius.
You're looking at it.
Gotta be the Mounties Esports.
Cool.
You have more important things in life to think about than your internet. At BreezeLine, we propel life forward with home internet so reliable, you don't have to think about it. With a team that goes above and beyond.
Hello everybody, welcome on in. More PIEA broadcast action for you. And what better way to start it on off today than with Overwatch. We've got Ferndale, Bishop Guilfoyle. It's going to be a banger match. My name is Ari Cast here with QQ. How we feeling?
Feeling good. Week number 4. I think we got 6 weeks of regular season action, if I'm not mistaken. So already approached that midway point, starting to cruise right on over it. And now we're just kind of coming down the home stretch here. It's been fun kind of seeing how some of these teams have been able to adapt, but now it's no longer about adapting. It's about really being able to lock in if you want to secure yourself a strong spot for that conference championship.
Yeah, I mean, obviously the standings starting to stack up a little bit. We're not quite exactly sure what these records are for these two teams, but we can pull them up very, very shortly. Of course, Ferndale, Bishop Guilfoyle, they're going to be heading to Busan on this first map. And of course, like always with that league play, it's going to be first to 2 maps or best of 3.
Always a lot of fun. I feel like here lately, Ari, we've been running into a string of a lot of 2-0. So I would like to see a couple of ones that go the distance. I know I would be all for it. I feel like this matchup, from what I've seen in the past of these two squads, it should be a banger, honestly. I'm excited to get down to it.
I'm looking up those records for us. Okay, Bishop Guilfoyle at 0-1 right now. And then Ferndale at 2-1. So both teams having, not perfect records, obviously, but both still fighting for that room for improvement and also just ways to give themselves into that secured playoff spot. One team going to be a little bit tougher to get them there, but either way, they're still going to try their darndest because they've got some time to work with. So let's see what they have in store for us.
Let's get down to it. Map number 1 is where it all starts.
Look at these comps.
I'm excited about it. This comp should look pretty fun. I always love seeing the Sigma. Love seeing my dad out there. The Ramatra, I feel like it's a good double, kind of a good play into one another. So let's get down to it. Let's get started on Busan.
I'm just taking an eye at maybe the Sombra here being one of those key players, as well as a Pasty on that Soldier. 2 characters that can really kind of cause the game to completely be played in different modes and ways, but also the Reaper as well. Keep that in mind. And now the Juno as well can be pressured to the back line to start this off.
I think Ray started off here trying to see which one of these two squads is going to be able to find that opening pick. Remember, we generally see 2 different kind of approaches here, right? You'll have one team who will like to, or you'll have some teams who like to push right on the point, some who like to look for that first pick. It looks like our two squads going to be fine with absolutely brawling it out, though, and looking to try and see if they can find themselves a point and get that first pick. Bishop Guilfoyle will fall first up, might get Ferndale the opening they're looking for.
They drop down 2, and actually that first pick being the Mercy is honestly the worst person you could get. No res available for the rest of the fight. They're going to actually go back to the spawn room as they feel a little bit uncomfortable and swap up that character, I believe, into the Life Weaver, was it? I'm not sure which one of the supports it was, but either way, a big difference there is changing right off of the bat in terms of how these teams want to play or how they feel that they can get away with playing it.
Far, Ferndale's been able to keep the control. It's going to be up to Bishop Guilfoyle to figure out which way they can push on, and I feel like really got to try and find someone in that back line. It felt like a lot. They're really pushing as far as trying to get past the tank first, which really isn't the best of ways to approach things, but let's go ahead and get down into it. Right now, doing a great job is Ferndale. I mean, they're doing a great job of standing tall.
Well, that's going to be the first pick. The Mad Lad, you know, trying to be a Mad Lad themselves to really go on forward and push in to a solo expedition. They're going to get punished on down, and now the Skull Ripper punched on down by the Annihilation on this site, which will continue to reign supreme as it goes into the backline alongside the Reaper and Life Weaver, taking them down 2, leaving the Sigma just alone on point.
Unfortunately, the Sigma, though, will oh, no, I thought Astro was going to be able to stay alive just for a moment. Unfortunately, is not the case, and just when you thought that maybe we might see Bishop Guilfoyle be able to retain the point, instead Ferndale will be able to keep control, and with them quickly approaching that 75% marker here, Ari, this is going to be the last go-around. You'll see they will look to group on up, and understandably so, as Astro was one of the last ones to fall. One last crack at it as far as point number 1, leading the way, of course, as normal is. The tank has the ult at their disposal if they want to use it here. Looking to get a couple off of the back line. This could be huge.
And it's going to tap on down. There's at least one pick. No, not even. So that damage coming out from the tank player, but nobody following up on the team. You see that EMP just barely close, and it feels like they're kind of just stalling on out until they can get their routes, do as much as they can. The Tree of Life going to be used here, but Orbital Ray, it's the visor, everything being dumped on through. We have a true Overwatch moment, but when the dust settles, it's still relatively even. Then eventually Ferndale start to tip the scales in their way. The players gotta stay on the point as well. Don't forget about that. But there's the EMP, the rock to the face. But the HP bar is declining with no supports in sight. This might just be it. The HP dwindling, and it has vanished. The Mad Lad, only 1 HP, couldn't fight against 4 remaining players, so they'll have to dip on out. And Ferndale take our first sub map.
Ferndale looked really strong as far as on that first sub map. I mean, look, they were able to get control off of the rip, and even at times where Bishop Guilfoyle looked like they started to figure things out and were able to potentially look to be able to cap the point. I mean, the Ferndale always seems to figure things out. So let's go ahead and head off to sub map number 2. I had mentioned before, I feel like we've been seeing a lot of 2-0s thus far here in the fall. Would really like to see Bishop Guilfoyle be able to fight back.
I mean, I do like the fact that they're changing things up in terms of their comp. They're going for that Zarya, which is, in theory, a little bit more reliable than the Sigma. Sigma, right, obviously still a very good tank, but when you're talking about solo carry potential or maybe trying to execute on top of everything, not really going to do a whole lot because there are certain ways that Ferndale know how to just play around the Sigma, and there's only so much you can get away with. Bishop Guilfoyle, though, venture what it was, now Junkrat, and a Wuyong as well, which I'm excited to see.
Plays into things here. We don't get to see that too much. Still hanging on board with Astro, trying to find a way past the front line. Again, it just feels like Astro's main real focus has been on the tank, and I understand how it becomes easy, especially like earlier on, but while you should be putting yourself between the enemies, you still want to try and see if you can get some damage onto that back line. See if you can pick, especially like a support player, make things just a little bit easier for you. It feels like Ferndale doing a little bit better as far as their target prioritization, which is helping them come out on top of these longer fights.
Absolutely. I mean, Astro here kind of just left for the Wolves and was going to have to get out. Luckily, they're not punished for the moment, but still, be careful. Don't get funneled into this position because you go down. That's all your charge. Astro somehow launches the right clicks to take down Pasty, so that's something, but the point cap and eventually Astro falling means that Bishop Guilfoyle are going to have to take a very hard reset unless they want to pull some sort of miracle push without a tank going forward.
Miracle push there to be able to do so without it. This time around, it took a while longer for the point to be captured. Maybe might work in favor of Bishop Guilfoyle, as it does seem like they have started to push their way back right on in. However, Bingling will be able to break out the fisticuffs just in the right of the nick of time. They'll be able to find Matic down, but that's the only pick they've been able to find thus far. Bishop Guilfoyle doing a great job of staying on their feet.
I like this, the Tree of Life, just to make sure secure this point, because you don't want to burn it too late, or even them going down should spell at least a fight win, or at least an elongated chance at victory, and they're just low on that HP bar until finally you see the players start to fall. So finally, Bishop Guilfoyle officially winning what is their first fight of the series.
Starting to turn the tides. If you're Ferndale, you're not too concerned, right? You've been able to keep the control almost a 50% here on our second point. You kept the control throughout the entirety on point number 1 as well. And while you could say that maybe with the change over for Astro, they haven't quite been able to make the adjustments too, well, you do still have a little bit of time. It does look like Ferndale will now be able to group back up. Hasty looking to wrap around the long way. Skull Ripper going up to the high ground here, trying to see if they can stay alive. Unfortunately, they will eventually fall, and it does mean once you have one less, it makes it a little bit easier to make the rest of the pieces fall. But the problem is Bingling falls for Matic. It's a big, was that quad kill? Big ult there.
I mean, crazy. The fact that they actually managed to get that fight away, and I was kind of keeping my eye on Astro, right? Had the Graviton Surge, didn't know when they were going to use it, and you know, there's always that risk of, okay, I'm going to pop it with no charge, and hopefully my teammates will do the rest of the work, but sometimes you are that extra piece that kind of gets things overboard. And luckily, the Helix Rocket from Matic making a great chance of things for themselves in that fight, and ends up being the way to victory, though. Destruct now going to be finding the first opening pick here, and I'd expect almost the Visor to be used here if they feel a little bit more at risk and if they feel needed, but no. Instead, 2 picks going straight away to this red side of Ferndale, and that should force the rest of the players off towards the edge of the map where they only have so much space to work with, and it feels like eventually their timers on their lives should be falling down shortly.
Yeah, I really like the way Pacey's been playing the high ground and wrapping around, working with their 2 players that are down low to really try the best they can to poke and prod. And now at some point, Ferndale is going to be calling, have to find a point where they really want to push their way on down. I mean, they're starting to run out of time. They've got to a point where you've lost a couple of players. They've been able to at least keep control of the point here and get the possession, but I don't know, man. Bishop Guilfoyle really fighting back strong.
Yeah, you can see them trying to just pop that Nemesis form, stall out for a little bit longer, find the Equalizer. Whoa, we're going to see Stagger Touch again. Nope, just backing on up. Lifeweaver does not want any of that, and they might still even feel it on the way out. Yeah. So there you go. Ferndale going to be dropping 2 picks here into this one, but they still should have time for recontest. It's just that that tank might be a little bit farther back than they desire.
Through here. Right now still stuck on the point. See, looking to make wrap their way on around. Forward, hold on, the hack comes through. I don't know how much that got, and unfortunately, yeah, Destruct about to fall here just regardless, and well, it does give the point back on over, and it looks like Ferndale.
Whoa, big!
Tight, yeah, it's huge.
I mean, I cannot believe that Lifeweaver uses the pedal, gets them out of the Graviton Surge, and protects their life, allows them to keep one of their other supports alive as well. And now you're shredding down this Zarya. This is a last fight that looked pretty dang disastrous because you couldn't get all the onslaught that you wanted. But instead, Pasty finally going to come over to this fight and should secure this one out. I felt like they needed to use that ult maybe a few fights ago, but hey, they trusted in the process, and even though they go down here, they should have secured this one in an extra breath of fresh air for themselves to at least maintain their chances in this point.
Get the cap there, and that's gonna be the big thing now. Is I'm the mad lad. It's gonna be about if you can push on down and at least create enough of a havoc with these last couple of players. Can you get the pick on the back line? No, we're not gonna be able to get it there, but the rest of the squad does pull up onto the point itself. Pasty and Bingling both gonna find theirs here.
Oh, and the Visor so good with the Annihilation. Break any sort of bubble action, just reduce any sort of heals down to a small little tickle. This might just be it. Ferndale, the timer running low, and that will be it. 2-0, but if we had to do a quick summary, we'd say a nice kind of resurgence from Bishop Guilfoyle ahead to maybe map 2.
Yeah, I mean, I think fighting back there, definitely a really good point to be able to move forward with, right? I've always kind of said in the past, I feel like control is a good point to get things like warmed up as far as the coordination, as far as the pushes onto the point as well. And it felt like earlier on, we weren't seeing the same sort of production from the Bishop Guilfoyle squads we saw later on. So I feel like moving forward, they should be in a pretty good spot.
Yeah, you saw the play of the game. I watched it real time. I was like, are they going to get that kill onto the Juno? Yep, just kind of kept chasing after him, waddling away, and it almost led to a lost fight. In fact, I think it did end up losing that fight for them because the tank had waddled so far away that the two players remaining on the opposite side had the Tree of Life with them, and that's how you saw the big resurgence from that Bishop Guilfoyle side. So props to them realizing what the situation was presented to them. But yeah, I mean, we talk about pros and cons for both sides. They're both doing good. They're both making mistakes, but who's going to show up to that second map, right? We've seen the highlights, but now we want to see if people can hold it for a longer amount of time than just those glimpses.
I think what was interesting, and first off, I want to make sure we have this addressed. I think actually our overlay was switched. I think it was actually Bishop Guilfoyle who walked away on top of that. I'm looking at the bottom there. It is showing Bishop Guilfoyle now up 1-0. I was noticing too earlier in the display. I was trying to get that figured out in the back. I couldn't quite pull up the rosters on my end, so that was a but it is indeed, it is swap. Bishop Guilfoyle is the one who ended up walking away. So everything we said as far as team wise, flip it. Ferndale were the ones that were a little bit slower out of the gate, did kind of be able to fight their way on back. Of course, since Ferndale did drop map number 1, they will be the ones responsible of figuring out which way we go here to map number 2.
Yeah, and again, I mean, obviously, we talk about what map you do bring this to. If you want to keep it similar with that flashpoint, similar archetype of play style, it felt like they did find a nice little solid groove with the Zarya, but at that point, then you have to decide, okay, we can't really go to Junker Town because that's just not going to be a viable option for the Zarya. Long range sight lines, not exactly the best for us. New Junk City, the same kind of thing there if you're going with that flashpoint mode. I honestly want to see them kind of just bottle up, right? Take it to a Kings Row type of map where it's very narrow at certain points, and sure, you do have multiple different avenues to filter through, but not just one that gets you funneled, say like that Eichenwald Bridge, right? You get under there, you have a Symmetro turret placed up in front of you, and I feel like they're going to be in a world of hurt. Chances are they can get themselves multiple different avenues to work with. They should see that chemistry go A-okay for themselves.
We'll have to wait and see as far as where we're off to as far as for our maps here. Again, keeping in mind as far as the way things go is we will have to make sure that we have as quick map selection here. And for Bishop Guilfoyle, you win map number 1, you come out here, you're now going to have to wait and see where Ferndale send you. For a squad that feels pretty confident, they should be feeling all right here. But I'm going to be kind of curious to see if they stick with that same composition, because it felt like as far as on the control on both sub maps, they've said with pretty well the same thing. You wonder if maybe that's just what's comfortable for them, even going over to something else here. It does look like, though, we will be off to Blizzard World for map number 2. Ari, give me your initial thoughts here.
Yeah, I mean, you talked about the similar archetype that they kept on running with that Ramantra, and I don't think we're going to see anything super different here. If they're comfortable with the Ramantra, Blizzard World should just follow and stack up to exactly that. I forget again which team it was now because they've been all swapped up, but, you know, I believe it was Ferndale, the one that was a slower start, right? That they have the potential to run the Zarya like they kind of wanted to on the attacking side, and they can still get away with that. But I feel like you also want to run something a little bit more divey than whether it be a Genji Tracer. I mean, the Sombra was really, really good work, so maybe even stick with that. Force the point in the beginning. But as for, you know, the resurgence coming back in, you start to wonder, okay, who exactly is going to be the one to kind of bring themselves back to the victory line?
Go ahead and get on down into it here as we do go off to Blizzard World. Keep in mind for Bishop Guilfoyle, since they did win that first map, if they're able to pull things off here, they'll be able to send things home and done and dusted in just 2. I always feel like if you go into a map number 3, you prefer to go into it off of the back of the momentum. So for Ferndale, if you're able to continue making those slight adjustments, win a couple of early fights here, and maybe send things off to map number 3 with the momentum here. So let's get locked in and figure out how we can get down and do it.
A little bit worried with this Reinhardt. I mean, obviously, there's a very clear path that you can take, which is, you know, try and speed by with the Lucio, which is what they have decided to do. Or you could go over towards that right side high ground and then take things from there. But it feels like they're going with this underside. It's going to be a lot tougher to scale on up and forward because that's a big old firing range. You're dealing with a soldier, a sojourn, and it's not exactly good for your shield HP, right? You're going to get shredded before you even get halfway there, and you're going to be forced to back up once more unless you can truly use those cooldowns correctly.
The idea of being able to potentially play behind this Reinhardt wall as long as you're able to make sure everyone else is pretty well coordinated. It's a pick on either side. Astro's actually, I'll find a second here, is That might allow for them to push forward. Gives Ferndale the ability to potentially unlock this point. They got the first third. There's the second. And with that, does look like Bishop Guilfoyle will be in full-on retreat mode, and that should unlock the push load here for Ferndale.
I just find it really funny. Astro on low HP goes fishing for those pins is what I like to call it. When you've got no real other strategy, you kind of feel lost with your cooldowns. You just say, you know what, I'm going to just send my 500 HP mass hurtling towards one of the opponents and hope that it gets them. And it did twice. It pays off perfectly, and you see that work out. Now, again, it looked really good there, but I have to warn you, it doesn't always go well. So be careful about where those pins are going, because if you do aggress a little bit too hard, you're going to see this start to punish you.
Job by the Reinhardt to get in front of that. Those couple of characters that were damaged. I think one still ended up going down as Bingling brings out the fisticuffs and pushes right into the back line. Is going to be able to separate the squad here from the side of Bishop Guilfoyle as well, which means they got plenty, or sorry, of the side of Ferndale. Unfortunately, though, for Bishop Guilfoyle, they just continue to fall. Even with the back of the ult there, doesn't create enough havoc, and it just means for Ferndale, they'll continue pushing forward.
For Bishop Guilfoyle, right, that Sombra, it looks like most likely trying to just mirror the success that I'm the Mad Lad's having, but the success really isn't going to be the same. I mean, I guess you could go hack the Reinhardt, you know, bring the shield down, have them be kind of caught out in position, but that Lucio speed is going to prevent them from really capitalizing on that anyway, right? They can just kind of tuck around the next corner. I'm looking for them to honestly go a little bit higher in that damage department.
I'd love to see them be able to push things up here. Bishop Guilfoyle now backing towards the card, seeing if maybe they can make something happen here. They haven't really been able to get much going on the defensive side. Maybe with Pasty being able to push behind, maybe that's exactly what you're looking for. The visor helps you find a couple, and that right there is exactly what you're hoping to do if you're Bishop Guilfoyle.
Be careful, the Venture does a lot of damage, and well, chipped down to half HP. These players still have to remain on the point correctly as possible. Destruct gonna go down, and this could very well still be a cap if somebody makes that positioning mistake. Yeah, just kind of hanging around in the spawn, trying to prevent anyone else from retouching, and it looks like very close, but maybe not as far as they would like. The cap not gonna be claimed just quite yet. It's Ferndale. Well, they're close, but no cigar.
Knocking on the doorstep, and they had 3.5 minutes to get there, so it feels like it should be doable. Oh. That's going to be big from Astro to be able to clean things up. Surely that buys enough space. Oh, win for the pin on the Ramatra. Not going to be successful in that regard, but continues to swing the hammer like a mad lad, and there it is. It's going to allow for them to unlock this first point. But man, 4.5 minutes from here, they've really bought themselves a lot of time.
Massive, massive shatter. 5 players, all just down, dusted on the ground. And it wasn't even a Wu Yang ult, which we saw the attempted kind of version of last time. They actually got punished for it, but now the shatter just paying off dividends here. I almost want to see a little bit of a mirror from Bishop Guilfoyle, because for whatever reason, just the comp that they're running is not meshing well against their opponents, right? In theory, it should be, but if it's not going to, you might want to make the change, even if you think you might have the better comp.
Forward, as it just seems like Ferndale really locked things in. Matic continues to do a great job of being able to push forward and help build some additional space. Hold on, though. Looks like just in time, Bingling gonna pop their ult. The fisticuffs coming out, gets themselves 2. Pacey gets themselves a 3rd. Bishop Guilfoyle, again, continues to scratch and claw. And the good news here now is where this payload is stopped, it's gonna be hard for them to be able to regather the control. Most importantly for Bishop Guilfoyle is they gotta make sure that they play forward of it here.
Felt like a bit of a gamble to pop that Annihilation, but also the snowball would have caused them to just completely lose the point, so fair enough. Big shatter again, only onto the 1, but it should be enough. No orbital ray back inside. Fishing time, and Pasty's gonna fall for it. Mad Lad as well, getting in on the action, and that forward orbital strike is nice for the tank, but nobody else pushing up with it means that they're really going to be stranded in the corner all by themselves. Ferndale walking away with this one very nicely, and Bishop Guilfoyle, they're going to be having a last-ditch effort here.
Got 3 minutes, and it feels like with this thing being, what, 20 meters, if even that much, probably about 15 from being from the finish line, it just doesn't feel like it. You'll be able to get at least a touch here from Destruct, but the question is, for what? You've already lost Mighty Nate. There's Pasty down here as well, and once Bingling falls, the rest of the squishies should fall like dominoes here as well, as it's going to be a team wipe, and Bishop Guilfoyle is going to have to push this thing the distance just to force an overtime.
Interesting. honestly was not expecting the full cap to come out like that in such a dominant fashion. I mean, Ferndale, right? Props to you guys. You're running that absurdly heavy brawl slash dive comp is how it turned out to be playing it. But honestly, Bishop Guilfoyle, it felt like they just never really made the adjustment to try and combat anything that was happening. They left it up to maybe their positioning or their ultimates. And, well, yes, that's nice. If you're getting beat in just the raw positioning kind of statements and cooldown department, you're gonna keep seeing that same result, right? We can talk about the definition of insanity, doing the same thing over and over, expecting a different result, and that's what it felt like they were doing. But I like this change, right? Onto the Orisa is something that I wish they would have done on the defensive side, right? Obviously, the Ramattra is still good for the shield, but if you're talking about trying to just stay alive as long as possible, soak as much damage in, and still be standing and dealing damage as well, I feel like the Orisa could have benefited them more on that defense.
Definitely have to agree. I mean, the extra sustainability would have been nice on the defensive side. Maybe, though, just cooler heads do prevail now that there's not actually fighting going on in between those eliminations. You get a chance to actually kind of talk about your game plan heading into the attacking side. And we'll have to see if maybe the switch on over to the horsey going down the Old Town Road might be exactly what Bishop Guilfoyle will need here. So remember, when they push the distance, if they push the distance, all that does is simply reset things as far as for overtime. And realistically, they're going to want to try and match that time that is on the clock still available for Ferndale. And man, they were cooking with a quite the pace. So Bishop Guilfoyle is going to have to do the same.
Very similar play here coming on through, but Skullripper maybe a bit too far in there is actually going to get punished. And no, the Reinhardt falling down the stairs. Life alert, give it to him because he needs help and can't get back up. Unfortunately, that's 2, make it 3 now players going down. And although Ferndale hanging on with Mad Lad in the back lines, I feel like there's only so much damage they can really do before they're either pressured to get out or give up the space entirely. Bishop Guilfoyle, again, just playing off of the mistakes, and it works out for them.
Great job so far. Here's on the Mad Lad. We'll push on out here. And for now, Destructs that we're going to hang on board with, we'll take down I'm the Mad Lad, and that should give them the control. Now the question becomes, can you get the momentum going with this payload? Because now they're going to have to make the bend and start heading their way towards this first checkpoint. First things first, they got to get past Astro and that big old shield that's been giving them all sorts of headaches since being brought out onto the server. Mad Lad will be able to fall back enough to be able to get themselves healed back up with 39 HP, but they just can't seem to find a way to get past Astro here.
That's Sebastian, by the way. A lot of damage going to be dealt back, and that's a nice addition, honestly, because when you have an Orisa on the other side, somebody that can soak a lot of that damage and swings from the Reinhardt, this could be a big pull. Terra Surge strike on in, and it's good for 1. It felt like it could have had more, but it's always one of those ults that it looks more appealing than it actually turns out to be. Either way, though, that should be enough to get them through this choke, but Bingling also going down means that Astro can have kind of free will to just do whatever they please.
Astro continues to just get to kind of post up and wait for those chances to strike, and I'm not sure where the Bishop Guilfoyle squad is that looked so dominant in those early fights in that first sub-map, in map number 1. But Ferndale just continues to make the adjustments needed, and they continue to be able to take advantage in these fights. I'm the Mad Lad. Will be able to poke and prod a little bit here, and once Bingling goes down, the rest should be able to fall in succession, as that gives Astro the green light to push right on through. Going to be able to get a shoulder tackle to take 1 down. Now, unfortunately, with everybody else, they'll just have to retreat.
I was expecting an EMP to go in there, but honestly, well played not to burn it. They didn't even need it, so they still can keep those 4 ults available. I would expect, however, to see it kind of be used in this fight over towards the right side if they can get either a hack onto the Orisa secured or even just anything in terms of that value, because Ferndale, they keep engaging on their own terms, and it keeps working out for them here. The right Bishop Guilfoyle doesn't even have a chance for them. The Fire Strike's lining up perfectly, and the Life Weaver in the back line not even going to stand for a moment longer.
Manic being able to find a huge one there to be able to open, or they open things up, and it just continues to keep Bishop Guilfoyle pinned on back. And Ferndale, they just are cooking right now. And even at this point, it feels like if Bishop Guilfoyle were to be able to like gather things up and be able to even get a full push at this point, the difference in time, because of how long they've been held at this first bend, I just don't know if it's going to be worth it. It feels like map number 2 just might already be decided, despite the fact that there's still 3 minutes on the clock.
Big EMP there. That's going to be that damage debuff kind of applied to all these players. And of course, Mad Lad gonna run towards the back lines. 1 bullet remaining. Not gonna get it all the way out, but the fight's won, so who cares anyway? The only thing you don't get is that stat, which, unlucky, but still Ferndale very happily in control here with all of their momentum, positioning, anything you could really name.
Good. Here comes a ult from the Bastion. Is it going to be able to find anything, though? I don't think so. Well, at minimum, just be able to keep this Bishop Guilfoyle at bay. Oh, no. It's a big turnaround.
I mean, it's a 1-for-1 trade in terms of ults and positioning, but at the end of the day, I think Bishop Guilfoyle, they're going to end up victorious. Astro might be getting a little bit too far forward there, a little too overzealous, and that causes the rest of the team behind them to collapse. Can't be making that same mistake again, but I'm also worried for Ferndale because Reinhardt, very good for holding a very small singular choke. Now, though, that there's different elevations, you're starting to talk about, well, they can kind of shoot you from multiple angles. That shield isn't a full 360. It's not a Maga.
It's currently on the high ground, so I guess you don't have to worry about people shooting you from the high ground if you're just holding it down up there. Got a couple of people back behind him as well. Bingwing has switched over to the D.Va. I don't think we got to point that out just quite yet. Maybe I missed that, but regardless, they've been on it for a while. They've got the ult available to them if they want to use it. Get slept, big boy, as that's going to keep them back behind for just a moment and gives Ferndale the space that they need to be able to create some openings.
Yeah, you can see this D.Va here kind of just hanging around, hoping to get as much value as possible. But unfortunately, right, by the time you chip down the armor on that Reinhardt, they've already taken out your mech, so you really can't stick around for too long. These should be some nice picks cleaned up as everybody maybe a bit too far forward without their tank. And again, that's something that we can also talk about with divas in general. It's just the fact of you cannot provide for your team as easy as you could a Ramatra, right? You don't have that shield to protect them. You have to peel using that DM, and so it can be a little bit tough when you're trying to provide space for your team yourself, when you're constantly having to look backwards.
45 seconds left here. Feels like maybe one more fight, potentially two, on how quick this first one is if Bishop Guilfoyle aren't going to be able to buy themselves more time. They might be able to make something work here. Astro now going head-to-head with the D.Va. He's looking to try and push past the shield a little bit of damage past that, but Astro, great job with that big body in between and a big old shield helping against that D.Va ult. It's not going to be enough. Ferndale seem to have locked it in.
Missed the timing on that shatter there. Half a second earlier, you would have gotten the D.Va before they could remech themselves, but what? They all fall down. What the heck just happened? 4 players on the point. It felt like for Bishop Guilfoyle looking good. They had the orbital strike for heals, and then they disappear. All gone, completely dusted. Pace is the only one left. They won't stand for a moment longer. Even needed here, as now the score's tied at 1-for-1. They really did wake up. That is Ferndale.
He seems to have really stepped on up here. Again, we saw them, it felt like even towards the back end of that first map, started to make some adjustments, but man, here on Blizzard World, it's been a whole different beast here for Ferndale. It's felt like things have been unlocked for Astro, who we've seen multiple times and able to get some big openings off of shatters and able to press forward when needed. Honestly, he's doing a great job on that line.
How do you deal with the Reinhardt, I guess, is the problem for this Bishop Guilfoyle side. I mean, they didn't have to on the first map, but now that it's in the picture, they're like, guys, we don't know what to do. I think the Ana is a good pick against that, right? You applying that anti-heal. Now, granted, there's still the shield in the way, but the ability to kind of pressure them and make sure they don't take as much space as possible is nice. I mean, I liked what they were doing with the Soldier and the Sojourn. It's just that now with that Reinhardt, again, you can only throw so many bullets in and get really no value out of it because that pressure is not being split to anybody else on the off angles. I would suggest if you're going for that similar vibe, maybe a Tracer, something that can provide that off angle pressure so the shield can't really do much against it. And then if you're going for raw damage against that shield, maybe even go with something silly like a Junkrat, because that's going to burn it down a little bit easier than something that has to reload constantly without doing a massive amount of splash damage.
We're now tied up at 1, and Ari, I talked about at the top of things. I was hoping for a map number 3. Ask and you shall receive, I do suppose. So that does mean if we have anybody that's tuning in and was expecting to catch our second matchup of the day, we'll be bringing that to y'all in just a moment. We've already contacted them as that was slotted to kick off at 4 o'clock. But of course, we got to make sure we still find ourselves a winner here between Ferndale and Bishop Guilfoyle. And I've got some concerns, I do have to admit, for Bishop Guilfoyle, because it felt like even in the map that Ferndale lost, they were able to make adjustments to be able to at least mitigate how badly they lost, right? They were able to kind of cut into the difference, which felt like they had something to build upon going into map number 2. It doesn't feel like Bishop Guilfoyle, or didn't feel like Bishop Guilfoyle were able to do that for themselves in map number 2 the way Ferndale were able to do in map number 1.
Yeah, if we're talking about maps kind of going into this next time, right? Obviously, the advantage of who gets to pick it is now on the side of Bishop Guilfoyle. I'm thinking kind of the counterpoints to what I was saying earlier, right? Instead of the smaller sight lines that I was suggesting Ferndale should use, now we want to open it up a little bit more. So all those maps that I said don't do. You have that Junkertown, New Junk City. Any of those are really going to be really good for you because that Reinhardt, although they're swinging around, the elevation's a little bit more prominent. That mobility of going in a straight fast line, sure, it might be nice, but you still got to jump up a few flights of stairs, and that'll stop your charge every few moments.
Where would you like to see us go here? If you had to pick one map, Ari.
I mean, for content's sake, I would say Kings Row, but like, that's just because I love Kings Row and I enjoy it very much. I'd also like to see Lijiang, but I know we already used that map. What do I think we're going to see? Most likely Colosseo, if I had to guess. I'm not sure if that's in the map pool right now, but I think sort of push style is going to be going well. And okay, Circuit Royale, a little bit familiar in terms of that Sigma style. Not exactly the push or the flashpoint, but your next best option after that, I would say.
Circuit Royale, I feel like it's been a pretty common one that we've been seeing in the background for sure. It feels like, I don't want to say the new, like the new use. I feel like Kings Row still kind of sits in its own sort of spot there where a lot of people feel comfortable on it. But I do feel like with as much as we've seen it, it's got to be one that a lot of teams got to have a lot of familiarity with, have a lot of comfortability with. So let's go and get down to it. One map to rule them all. Let's figure out which one of these two teams is walking away with the dub here.
So that's why it's called Circuit Royale. I'm going to be honest, never knew that.
Didn't know the race?
I did not know there was a track around it. I'm going to be completely honest. I just thought it was a circuit because of like the big around section in the first turn and the second turn and the third turn and all the turns. It just, yeah. Now that I'm saying it, kind of makes sense.
Just start kind of explaining it to yourself. You're like, oh no, that really does make sense here. But what's going to be interesting here, we are going to be seeing Bingling going back to the Ramatra. Remember that Ramatra, I felt like found them a decent amount of success in map number 1. Not quite the same when we did go to Blizzard World, at least not in the first half before they made the change on over. Remember, that was one thing we did talk about with when they made the change to the Orisa. For Bingling here, I feel like the front line is really where things start because they've been really struggling finding a way to push past Astro, and you can't find a way past the big boy. Nobody else starts to fall.
Astro on the Reinhardt again, Bingling on the Ramatra. Again, in terms of a solo matchup between the two, Reinhardt should, in theory, come out between them in the sense of just a higher amount of damage, the pin that is available that you always have to fear, but the Sombra throwing a wrench in these things makes it a little bit more risky. Matic, though, finding a first shot. Not sure how that one happened, but hey, you'll take it. A little bit of a log through the forest, and that one works out in their favor. 2 picks for Ferndale. They're going to keep on walking on it. As we know, Astro likes to go fishing time and time again. They're going to be paying off with a big old carp.
Big shoulder. Puts them up against the wall, sends them back to the respawn. Right now, Ferndale continue to seem to be right back into that same step, that same pace that they were able to pick up in map number 2. Bishop Guilfoyle got to find a way to bring this train to a screeching halt. It feels like it might start here on this up and around bend here as far as for point number 1. We do see a lot of teams kind of struggle as far as at least once they get the first point cap, being able to make the turn and continue pressing forward. See if they'll have that same struggle. It doesn't seem so, especially when you have the I'm the Mad Lad just pushing the back line and getting free pickings all day.
It's really funny how this comp kind of flows together, where each player on the Ferndale side has a different objective, and they're all getting the value off of it, right? Astro maintaining the front line, Mad Lad entertaining the back line, and then Matic kind of just making sure that nobody harnesses just standing still on a high ground by themselves, right? Pasty, I mean, gonna feel the burn of the dragon this time, and not exactly happy with that one, but the speedy Lucio that's usually helping the team run on forward is actually the slow one in the back.
One that goes down, Destruct. The question is, can you keep everybody up? What's up? Bingling's gonna try and fall back just a little bit. Make sure that nobody's able to push their way on through. Oh my goodness, though. Matic gonna be able to find one as well. Bishop Guilfoyle, every time it feels like they're getting themselves back to a full 5. 1 or 2 fall. This time it's the entire squad that ends up falling. It's going to give them the ability to unlock the second point here.
Yeah, I was going to say that Shatter looking tempting right now, maybe looking for the right time to line it up, and eventually they did determine, hey, this is a useful ult. It's going to secure us the next point, and those players are a bit too far staggered to really do anything to contest our capture. Very nicely done by Ferndale, continuing where they left off in that second map. But now, of course, you talk about this final section, the elevation's a little bit more prominent, and I'm just looking at Pacey to really get up on the high ground with players like Destruct, who I guess as well should be in the back line at times as well.
Man, that'll be the first one to fall, and well, the Lucio should be able to keep everybody else up onto their feet here. No, actually, I could be wrong on that. Maybe even if it is just for a moment, but once the fisticuffs get broken out by Bing Ling, will allow for them to take down 2. I don't know if they'll be able to eventually get the Ash. Yeah, there it is. The Reinhardt will eventually fall, and once the big boy falls, that will cause everybody else from Ferndale to need to retreat. This should allow for them to at least reset things on the Bishop Guilfoyle side.
Yeah, I mean, I do not like the fact that Ferndale used both support ults in that same moment, right? Obviously, Skull Ripper using that to kind of stabilize should have been enough. I mean, Kono Doida did use theirs, but then it got a little bit too aggressive and got punished for it, found the hack, and then no extra heals for themselves. Bingling now making work with these in for the familiar choke of small territory, but this time Bishop Guilfoyle seem to be the ones running on top of it.
Push through here, though. You feel like you got to be feeling all right. You are Ferndale. Bishop Guilfoyle's got to find a way to be able to hold the line. Pasty's going to be able to find them. I'm the Mad Lad. There in the back, Mighty Nate also going to be able to find one as well. And while Ferndale might have been smooth sailing through the first 2 points, they've really been brought to a standstill here. However, once Bingling falls, that might be the opening that Ferndale was needing to be able to push past this choke.
3 picks out of absolutely nowhere, by the way. And the fact that also Medic used the ult, a little bit questionable on where that one was going, but hey, whatever gets you the space and scares them off, so be it. They finally managed to get out of that painful choke, and for now, it's going to be free pickings for Matic and Mad Lad. The EMP going to pop out when they see and feel the time is right, and of course, who else to punish on it but Astro. Fishing again, this time not going to find anything. A tree in their way, a leaf, a petal, but still, victory completely in their sights and within reach.
See that end line. Maddox's going to be able to find one, and that is one of your 2 supports. It's a big first pick to find. You can get everybody behind this tank. That should just about seal things here, but the Tree of Life should be able to help keep things alive just in time here for Bishop Guilfoyle.
Astro should have probably put up the shield at some point, but maybe just deciding, hey, let's go for the hard reset, not burn up too much time, since they did use a lot of ultimates, especially, you know, one like the Tree of Life and the Annihilation. I like the play they're going for the solo shatter on the Ramatra and pinning them maybe far away from the rest of the team. The only problem is they didn't get the chance, as that life group was in their way. Make sure you got to reset here, folks, because if you get staggered, not going to go well for you. At least 1 pick should be traded out with this beat. Yes, very nice. And around the corner, Astro leading that shoulder, like you mentioned, one more time. Juno, the only one left here on the carts, and just a few more moments, all the players will be starved back to spawn. That'll be a full cap with 2 minutes and change left for Ferndale.
The copium in me wants to say, hey, you at least were able to take quite a bit of time off the clock. What was that, 213, 217, something like that? That's still a lot on the board. Even if you are able to push the full distance here for Bishop Guilfoyle, to be able to match that pace because of how much they were upticking earlier is going to be quite the challenge here. But at least, I guess at least the good news for Bishop Guilfoyle is you've got a goal line in sight. You got to make the full push here. Ari, let's see if they can make it happen.
My one thought is before the 5 seconds go down, I'm going to say we might even see a Reinhardt from that Bishop Guilfoyle side.
Think so,
If you can't beat him, join him. I mean, it feels like that's something that, I don't want to say could necessarily work, but if they're looking for options to swap things up, that's certainly a way you can go, right? Astro's been dealing a decent amount of damage, been the hero in a lot of fights, so Bingling, although you have been strong with that Annihilation, right? Farming it a little bit slower and not dealing that frontline pressure as much, it feels a little lackluster.
Well, no real changes on the Bishop Guilfoyle side. Maybe it's just a comfortability on this composition for them. Hopefully it's not all, due to a lack of options as far as for depth in the bag when it comes to our hero selection far as for this Bishop Guilfoyle squad. Ferndale heading into things here for the day. They were 2-1, 4-2. They've either swept or they've been swept. So this is the first time they've seen map number 3. Adlad trying to play super aggressive here. Is it going to be worth? Finds their way back.
No way, Astro just pinned from the high ground into those spawn doors and found Gum Guy. That's absurd and disrespectful, and they are most certainly punished for it. They lose 2 picks, and that's all of the spacing that really you try to hold on to. Maybe this bridge, this corner, now completely gone. You don't want to be a Reinhardt jumping off the side of this very high ground in the next fight.
No, you definitely don't want to be, but you're going to have to try and wait for the rest of the squad to respawn here, as it's currently Astro and Mad Lad waiting for the other 3. Mention the space that had built here. See if now they can make a little bit of use of it. Try and push their way across the finish line for this first checkpoint, which is oh so huge. Mad Lad will go back to the high ground. I think with that, might just be the space that they needed, especially since Astro's the one that's down.
Absolutely. I mean, this kind of turnaround up the bend could be a little bit of a disastrous spot for them if Astro just kind of gets to hold up their shield the whole time. But I want to see maybe a Sombra go up towards the side angle, something like that. Even a Sojourn, if you're Bishop Guilfoyle, just kind of provide that off-angle pressure to make sure that that Reinhardt has to turn around, or at least fear for their support's lives at some point.
Look at that get away in time. They can. Able to get back to safety here as well. Getting chased down, I think, should be fine. Meanwhile, on the point, Hasty trying to work alongside Bing Ling. See if they can find themselves that opening pick. Reinhardt just about down, but the shield kicks back in right in the nick of time. And Bing Ling just can't seem to push back. Matic has free pickings from the high ground here from Bastion. It's just not fair.
Didn't even move. Just sat there in turret form and then in recon form in the end, 4 kills. I mean, that's the beauty, I guess, of how Ferndale are playing this. You worry too much about a Reinhardt, you have to deal with somebody else. And that's, you know, Bastion, Sombra, even Ana or Mora, any of these characters. You leave them alone, they will find a sneaky little pick and cause you a lot more problems than you're expecting for.
Problem is where this payload is now stopped. They got to turn the corner just to get to it, which does mean Ferndale gets free pickings on the early start before the fight really kicks off. And again, Matic sitting on the high ground. This time around has been identified, however, which means they don't get free pickings. But once the ult comes into play, oh, they're able to get away just in time. Bishop Guilfoyle here now. They've fallen back. They've conceded so much space, and now it's going to be about trying to put together for another push.
I mean, this is a decent spot. Some players kind of caught out right now, but of course nobody really behind them. If you can hug these walls, you might be able to find some success. It's going to be the speed ring on forward, but no orbital strike in sight, so the annihilation will be first. EMP Shatter, we've seen that combo before, usually to cancel a shield. It doesn't matter though, pins away the annihilation. Juno flying in the sky will get fallen on down, but Bingling still trucking, still living, and is at least going to try and steal the tides, make them similar. It feels like all though is lost as Matic, with that hail of bullets from above, is able to give Ferndale that little extra peace of mind.
Oh man, every time it feels like they get just a little bit, Ferndale brings it right on back. It's been held to a standstill here. We've seen them push this thing a little bit up the hill, but then as soon as they fall, Ferndale just allow for this thing to push right on back, and this could very well be the corner that this game ends on. It's again, such a tough spot to push into. Before you can even get to the payload itself, you're already taking shots.
Absolutely. Agreed. I mean, that's why you see the swap here onto the Diva, but even then, that player shredded completely. Gonna have to use the life grip and burn that out. I mean, I'm looking at this OC, right, the overclock, and maybe there's some things you can do with it, but not exactly the easiest of lines to find, especially on the low ground. Oh, bye-bye, Astro.
Well, maybe that might be the opening that Bishop Guilfoyle needed, is if Astro just puts themselves off of the map. Of course, that won't take them too long to get back into the respawns. That means Bishop Guilfoyle needs to find a way to take the control and push forward. The ult here from the Bastion might help slow things down at least a little bit, but for Bishop Guilfoyle, they've been able to keep up on their feet, at least until Pasty does eventually fall. They've made the turn around the corner, but can they continue ascending up this hill?
I mean, honestly, the one-for-one trade between Mad Lad and Pasty is really, really good. Although both players do have their ults, I feel like that Visor provides a little bit more of a threat than that EMP, and so you'll take that almost every day that you can. Just getting that player high damage out of the picture allows you, Reinhardt, to really swing away, not have the shield up, and yeah, there we go. There's the fire, strikes on in, the hammer swinging away, and even though Astro will fall, so will the rest of Bishop Guilfoyle. Hasty, the only one really remaining, and even they will meet their demise to a fist in the back and a bastion to boot.
Oh, it's so rough here. It feels like every time Bishop Guilfoyle starts to figure things out, Ferndale brings things right back in. Hold on a second, don't get caught out here. Can you get back to your team? Yes, you can, just in time. And we'll get them some health up as well. And 50 seconds here. It's now or it's never. If you're going to continue pushing this thing up the hill, you still have about half of the way to the second checkpoint. And it just feels like such a monumental task. I mean, yeah, you've got the visor available for Pacey if you opt to use it. I think was looking to pop it there, but falls before they can.
Be a pure disaster there. I mean, the ultimate of that big old bomb gonna be used, and oh, doesn't even get back in. That should have been one Remac kill, but instead the Shatter takes them out completely. Again, Astro with these big old shatters, and the nano applied. I'm not even sure to which player, but it ends up doing the job and sustaining. The early call of the GGs from Bingling is nuts. They've given up.
They understand the situation that they're in here. I mean, Bingling is still leading the charge. It's not like they've completely given up. I think they just understand the importance of the situation here and realizing that there's really not much they can do. Of course, as I say that, Skull Ripper's fallen, and there's Astro as well. Overtime Wick has been lit. And they've continued to push forward here because every time they start to get the control, they have to worry about these flanks that are on the backside here. This Mad Lad who's pushing forward but can't quite find a way to take him down.
Maybe it's a tactical sort of input, right? You say, hey, I'm gonna call the GG, get them a little bit too confident, they make a mistake, and then we get ourselves back into this game. You know what? Fair play. I'm all for it. Yeah, I mean, Astro still gonna be very low on HP here. The Moira as well falling short, and yeah, this play could very well have worked out. Big EMP, but it's not gonna matter. Nobody's there to punish it. And yes, indeed, we do have the success coming through.
So they do got themselves the second point. The problem being, though, is because of the fact that they are already on overtime, it really doesn't add much. Another 80 seconds. And even if they do get the full push, we do know that they'll have less than a minute left, which means they won't get any time added up but to that minute, even if they do push it the full distance. So they're already going to be playing from behind. But the important thing here is you still got to at least give yourself a chance. And in order to do that, you've got to find a way to push this card across the finish line.
Bingling's ult here, I feel like really isn't going to get too much damage because of the narrow sight lines. There's only so many rooms these players can play in, and very one straightforward avenue that a shield can block forward. So I have to start to worry for them. Maybe they can set it deep on in, or maybe just use it as an extra life. But for right now, the option's kind of dwindling for them to use it.
They sent themselves forward. Is this where they opt to try and use it? They did. They got Astro down, though. And that could be the opening that they needed. Once the tank falls, the squishies become a little bit easier to put down. You put down two. Can you find yourself a third? Yes, you can. You did end up getting hacked, but I don't think it matters. I don't think it came across in time. And Bingling absolutely wrecking shop.
Oh, here comes Astro. That one's gonna at least be a solid amount of damage onto the Diva. Life grip to get back out. Big shatter. That's onto at least one. Astro can't stay alive, though. And so the Bastion will be the only player to try and deny this touch. That's going to be at least one player punished. But where is that big tank? The MVP, if you will, in terms of that HP bar, is nowhere in sight. That means Ferndale will have to work a little bit harder to get that extra win and series win on the board.
That's a huge job to be able to force an overtime. But as I had mentioned before, see up in the top middle of your screen, they will only have a minute as far as for the run back here on map number 3. Meanwhile, Ferndale get a whole 317. But it means if Bishop Guilfoyle is going to be able to pull things off in overtime, they are more than likely going to need to have one of those miracle pushes that we just saw. So let's go ahead and get down to it. See if Bishop Guilfoyle can pull off the upset.
I think it would be a cool kind of way to go, but at the same time, I mean, Bingling calling the GG. I hate to bring it back to it because we don't like to talk about that match chat too much, but wow. I mean, whatever reason it might have came out in the end of the day, it's no longer relevant, right? You got a whole fresh set of stats to kind of work with. No ult charge on the board, no momentum really, because it feels like it's about even. Ferndale of course, having that time advantage, but Bishop Guilfoyle having the recency momentum.
The recency momentum would be huge here. And again, I think for you, for Bishop Guilfoyle, since you just were able to pull off the miracle, right? And because of the way overtime works, you flip sides, which means you start on the offense. Maybe, just maybe, since you are able to duplicate, or maybe get a chance to duplicate that success instead of having to switch to defense first, maybe that's how things will work out here. But let's go ahead and get down to it. They only got a minute.
Yeah, I'm looking at maybe the Sombra of Madland to get themselves an extra push forward here. That is, if it were a Sombra on the attacking side. Now, in their backline is going to be a Punish instead, almost taking a free pick, and yes, does make that a second one. That was a collapse on the Glitch Matrix. You know what? I'm all for it. Ends up working out in their favor, and they'll get out scot-free, burning 40 of those precious seconds.
A lot of time taken off the clock here, which means now, once again, they are going to have to rely on sort of that last-second miracle, and have to push it the distance with the wick lit here, and they're already still pushed back. Oh, Mad Lad, no one sees them. It's going to be a free picking onto Destruct, which is going to be a huge first pick here. But for Bing Ling, they've already been able to find 2 to their own right. They do still have to worry about their 6, and the last thing that you have to worry about is pushing off the cart to find it, and no one being on to keep pushing it forward. Astro already back here for Ferndale, as well as they're going to look to try and bring things to a screeching halt here. Mad Lad already down.
I feel like this round sort of ends when that Shatter becomes available for Astro. There's only so much that you can do against it when you don't have a shield on your own side, so you got maybe 25% to the ult charge, or you remove the Reinhardt first. The beat, though, is going to make that almost impossible. And there's the bomb up to the sky. The shield should go up, but where's the remake? It's going to be on down. Nobody really to combat that one. The EMP, though, does cancel Astro. Astro will fall, and now they're, as much as they are close to their ultimate, now not going to have a chance to use it. This will be down to the rest of their teammates, who are doing mighty fine. There's 3. The Bastion pops. They're all in the middle of the fight. Destruct still 1 HP. Does not get one for the road, and it's just down to Bingling, the player that might have started it all. They are not going to last for much longer. Is that overhealth now the only thing keeping them alive? And even that will not give them the chance to succeed. It'll be 86 meters. That's all she said. Now, you've got to match it if you're Ferndale.
That's a tough pace for Bishop Guilfoyle, not even able to get to the first point, but we had mentioned it was going to be quite the climb for them with only a minute. You only get yourself essentially 1 team wipe, and then after that, you get knocked down one more time. That is the end of the run, exactly the way that we just saw go down. So now it will be up to Ferndale. You mentioned you push it 86.7 meters. It's done and dusted, and Ferndale move up to 3-1 on the semester here for PIEA action. So let's go ahead and get down and do what it do.
Similar composition, nothing really changing for either side. Feels like they're just kind of trusting their logistics and execution of when they get into the battles. Hopefully their skill will suffice, be more than enough to combat the opponents. But again, if you full capped first time, that was Ferndale, what's going to stop them from doing it again? Going to be very tough, especially when we haven't been demonstrated really that Bishop Guilfoyle on the defensive side could win more than a few fights.
I mean, I think the 87th meter will probably stop them, but I get your point. Yeah, I think as far as with the confidence that they had in the first time that they pushed, they should be feeling all right, especially with the fact that you get 3 minutes and 15 seconds essentially to push this around the corner, and you don't even need to make it to the hill. For Bishop Guilfoyle to make a statement by starting things off with a big team wipe and not allowing for them to push this cart very far. But right now, Ferndale doing a good job making sure no one flanks around them. As now Mad Lad pushes it to the high ground. Good peel by the Diva, though, to make sure that no one falls.
This is going to funnel everybody over towards the small corner, which the Bastion and Reinhardt will have success with. That'll be Matic with a nice little bounce shot. It's not a Moira orb, but it'll do the same trick, a skill kill anyway. And the Hammer now going to reign supreme over this Diva, as he can't exactly DM that. The Sleep Dart, a little bit awry, and that'll spell for disaster on that Ana, as the cooldowns, well, not available for Skull Ripper, excuse me, back the other way, though, as players still exchanging blows over towards this high ground. Pasty gets one for themselves, but the trade should always benefit the attackers in this scenario. The defensive spawn a bit too far away, and this could almost be that last fight.
Could very well be, especially if Diva is about to fall, and you got pinned right up out of the mech suit as well. The tank now gone, and it feels like that could very well be the beginning of the end. You've got your couple of squishies that'll look to peek their heads over this hill here, but it just don't feel like it's going to be enough. Not going to be in time. The wrecking ball comes out to be able to close the distance. Might be able to be enough, but they can't get onto the point in time, and it will be Ferndale who will be able to take home the victory.
Just a funny boop by Astro in the end. It's one that takes the ball from even in their ball form, just knocks them completely all away. It's funny that the pin does the strike onto the bowling ball this time, but yeah, this is the one we talked about where the players just kind of sit and did whatever they could using their character to the full potential. And when you're not even tested to get out of your sitting form, then why would you need to do anything else other than that?
I mean, why not? Why would you? You mentioned it, right? Like, it's that easy. And when you have that much room, that much space, the game becomes so easy. Why would you change things up? It's allowed for them to burn so much time as far as on that initial push, which meant next time around they didn't have so much time to be able to try and put themselves a good finish line. So hey, you know, shout out to Bishop Guilfoyle. They were able to at least send us up to map number 3, which is what you and I have been hoping for all semester, it feels like. But unfortunately for them, after picking up map number 1, they dropped 2 straight, which allows Ferndale to move up to 3-1.
Yeah, it's a nice little change of pace. Last time I got to see Overwatch was actually this weekend, and all 3 series were 3-0s. So the fact that we get to see even a best of 3 go to that full distance is kind of nice to see that all these players are relatively equal in competition. Remember, both of these teams as well, Division 2, so not even in that Division 1 slot, but making a good showing for why they do have what it takes. We saw on one side, maybe it was the hero depth in terms of what they needed to expand on and maybe succeed with going towards that future. On the other side, right, maybe just the pure execution of it all. Either way, both teams showing a very good look.
They're looking good here. That's going to be the end of our first matchup on the day, but it does look like we've got a second matchup that we are is waiting on us. So we're going to try and flip this lobby as quick as possible. We're going to take ourselves a quick break. And on the other side, we're going to have ourselves Lebanon High School versus Westmont Hilltop. Don't go nowhere. We'll be right back.
got a full series. Woo! We got to the end of it. We got to 3 full maps, and hopefully, if we can continue that trend, we'll have more Overwatch for you on these PIEA broadcasts that can also live up to that same hype and value as the previous one. This one is going to be between Lebanon High School and Westmont Hilltop, 2 teams which are going at it once again. Of course, my name is Arcast here with QQ. What are we doing here in this next series?
This one should be a lot of fun. Lebanon looking for their first dub of the season. Westmont Hilltop currently sitting at 500. They're at 1-1. Westmont Hilltop's Overwatch squad has been fairly interesting. They've kind of bounced around a little bit. Last year, their D2 squad moved up to D1, bounced back down to D2 after some adjustments to their roster this year. I feel like for the Westmont squad, usually when we see their Overwatch team, it's one of those schools where when you see Westmont on Overwatch, you generally know that they're going to be coming to the table with a pretty strong game plan. And they should be able to put up a pretty good fight. What will be interesting is I feel like they're a team that usually likes to play a little bit more aggressive than a lot of our other D2 squads, even kind of seen here with the Winston pick, right? You're looking to play more dive versus brawl. You kind of compare that to your traditional-ish, I would say, sort of comp from Lebanon. I'm intrigued to see how this thing plays out here on Busan.
Yeah, full dive here versus Maga Brawl. That's not going to be a fun time for either team having to deal with it. Although Westmont Hilltop, I feel like, have maybe the more back end of its side, at least from a tank player POV, because I know I'm jumping on that back line, and then all of a sudden there's a Maga in my face. And look exactly what happened in this first fight. Yeah, a lot of bullets.
Nice and progressive. They'll be able to find the first one, make that 2, maybe even 3 as Valerie falls. And man, oh man, Westmont Hilltop cleans things up on this first team fight, quick, fast, and in a hurry. You know, we had mentioned before how some teams will like to try and find that first pick. Well, that's exactly what Westmont did. They just went in, they got all up in their face. They've already got themselves a point.
I mean, I know 11% on Dylan there in that particular fight because it was so short makes sense, but 10% on Lava Shark going in is kind of nuts. The fact that you shut down a Maga who has so much HP and so many cooldowns to stay alive for longer to even just maintain a little bit more ult charge. Fell them at the other side of the back end, and now you feel them pain that they're going through right now. Pulse Bomb launched to the side, and that even might find its mark. Lava Shark just very low HP, might even go down again.
Just being an absolute menace in the back line, being able to kind of teleport back and forth, being able to keep themselves alive. They will eventually fall here, however. Question becomes, does that create enough of an opening for Lebanon? Feel comfortable pressing forward? I'm gonna guess probably not, strictly based off of the fact that Westmont Hilltop still have so much pressure on everyone, as everyone's starting to make their way out of the tunnels here now. So they do have a full 5, but guess what? Lennon is back into the party, so is Moose, and it's still a 5v5. Lebanon hasn't been able to take any control here.
I love the sniper monkey up at the top, just piecing away the Valerie on that Mercy, and at least the point flip has came through. But again, you're running Symmetra into Winston. Those turrets are going to be gone shortly. Throw the Symmetra back into the fight. That Dragon Blade available. Once you take down this turret, it feels almost like free reign, especially with that Suzu on out. But yeah, just going to take that extra few seconds of time. May not even need it because they want to see a bit of a regroup. That Blade, though, I'm expecting to see it soon. But no, there's 2 picks. Lennon's off the map. And the Mercy just dodges the Pulse Bomb with a glide away. This is a very chaotic fight.
This is a super chaotic fight, but what we're seeing is the strength of Westmont Hilltop, even when they don't have their tank, still able to put down a whole bunch of pressure, able to prioritize their targets, and it will be eventually the Mauga, who is the last one left. But guess what? When no one's there to heal him, he falls pretty quick when there's a bunch of people looking their way. Tony Zamboni cleans up an additional one here as well. Savage Fury playing up in your face, and they'll be able to take one down too.
They didn't even want to shoot back. They just said, you know what, I'm going to take my hammer, I'm going to go for that kill, and oh my gosh, that would have been nutty if Displayed goes down, although they will to the hands of Lennon, just not for the clip in Tony Zamboni. And outside here, the Mauga not going to stand too much of a chance, especially with that rally in the face by themselves. Yeah, pain still being established and given to Lebanon as they cannot find their footing to really regroup with their tank and go for that hard engage.
It's like, yeah, you could look at the point that, hey, we got the point at some point, got 34%, and be like, hey, that's something cool to hang your hat on, I guess. But other than that one swift moment, I mean, most of the fights have really been controlled by Westmont Hilltop. They're playing so aggressive, and it just does not feel like Lebanon very comfortable with the pressure that's being brought their way. It doesn't feel like their tank is being as confident with their peels to be able to help their backline. Just seems to be a lot of sort of disfigurement back on that Lebanon side.
I almost want to see Lava Shark go to like something like a Ramantra, a Sigma, something that can be kind of the jack of all trades. Because again, you don't need to be the master here in this one. Westmont Hilltop, it feels like they have the capabilities to really do anything they want. So even just playing a bit of a slower of a pace, even if it's maybe less effective in terms of the meta and the comp, I still think that even just living longer, giving yourselves more assets to make those mistakes should give them a better chance in this one. I mean, Tony Zamboni is on the Echo, for Christ's sake. Like, this is just a character that's going to delete your tanks.
Let's go and get down to it. See if they can make anything different here for point number 2.
Oh my God.
I love the overhead look here, is unfortunately displayed, already found. Lennon's going to be able to find a second here as well. Lava Shark falls. And before it even feels like we're really jumping into action, 4 people are off the board here for Lebanon.
Where'd they go? I missed it. I think I blinked. Oh, well, there's T-Leap. Well, there was T-Leap. You can see their body kind of on the floor there as a sign of what the goal was for Lebanon. But of course, yeah. Again, that grouping up that we were talking about, that we wanted to see before, it's just way too staggered and not enough pressure that can be thrown at, say, something like a Reinhardt Shield or a Brigitte. And, oh no, we're going to have another pin battle game again. I thought Astro was in the last lobby.
I'm playing forward, the pin battle, going back forward with the charge, and we're going to be able to get one. Savage Fury down. The Mauga tries to push back to kind of create a little bit of additional space back forward towards Westmont for Lebanon, but to no avail. It's another team wipe, and look how far forward the Hilltoppers are. They're pushed up right against these spawn doors.
I love the Maga, but I want to see a swap. I feel like they're okay. Okay, moves. And they're going to go in for the clip on the pulse bomb so they can get in the replay. All right, yeah, I see how it's going. Well, instead, you don't get the pick right off the bat. Instead, you got to work a little bit harder for that. Displayed, though, there's the first. Now the second. Supports are gone, and it feels like the fight again as well. Hey, look, a flip onto the points, but I think that's more at the fact of Westmont Hilltop's overconfidence that that point did get flipped at the end.
Yeah, the question is, how long can you stay there? Because both Dylan and Tony Zamboni will be able to find theirs and very quickly give this point right back to the Hilltoppers, who are closing in on that 60%. And it feels like we could very well be at that point in this fight where it is only one more team fight, because it's just been Westmont Hilltop who have had all the control. And look, I understand that Lava Shark probably feels like they got a big HP pool, but you gotta wait for everybody else, otherwise you're just gonna fall. Moose gonna be able to find 2. It's both of the supports here as well. Yeah, the cage fight might be able to help, but only just for a moment. And with that, another team fight in favor of Westmont Hilltop.
Cage fight was actually from the Maga of Tony Zamboni on that Echo, so even then, the player on Echo able to get that cage fight up. Lava Shark still yet to use theirs, and it feels like, well, they only have so many more options in order to do so. Maybe they pop it for the road here before going on down, but that'll be just the Venture Ultimate used. I think it was. It looks something similar to that, but yeah, nothing to really say, hey, we got to the points, we want to fight. Just all Westmont Hilltop in this one.
Yeah, it just doesn't feel like, from watching Lebanon here, I don't know if they've got the depth in their bag to be able to push back against this very aggressive play that we've seen from Westmont Hilltop thus far. As we do see the play of the game from Tony Zamboni. Big plays in the back line. The Genji playing super aggressive. And when you've got the Genji as well as Moose, the two of them wreaking havoc, you've got a strong push forward as far as on the Winston as well. It's just too much for Lebanon to handle here.
Yeah, I mean, I wonder, maybe you go, again, a bit more self-sufficient, say even like a Reaper, something that can really just get their own pick and get out. But at the same time, I mean, the solo potential from the Westmont Hilltop is still really, really good as well. So you can't win in that 1-versus-1 battle. You can't win in at least the team battles of what we've seen right now. So you either have to focus up on one or the other, right? Trying to play wishy-washy back and forth between the two is not going to work for you. I want to see them honestly go for a death ball, a gamble. If it doesn't work out, so be it. But go maybe that high HP thing where you don't get picked off easily. If a Tracer, you know, starts shooting you from the side, or a Genji dashes in, you'll still be okay. You can use those cooldowns. You can bulk up. Maybe even the key being a Brigitte here.
would like to see the Brigitte pick. Feels like that might be a nice change to be able to bring to the table. Of course, the first thing that Lebanon is going to have to figure out is where do we want to go first? And it's about what kind of composition do you want to run based off of that. Due to the... I can't say that they didn't have any changes on the Lebanon side. We saw a couple of hero changes, but it wasn't much. Leads me to believe that it's probably more so about just kind of going with a base composition no matter what map they're on, but only time will tell.
I'm feeling like a Rialto vibe from this team. I don't know what it is. Of course, I don't know what the map pool is, but just I feel like Rialto's just a world where maybe they feel a little bit better. They start on the defensive side. They run the Symmetra. They can run the Roadhog at the bridge or even just hold the bridge in those smaller sight lines. Again, going to be a little bit more flavorful for them, more fruitful, but of course, that would be if it was in the map pool.
Fortunately not. I wonder if maybe Blizzard World will see again. I feel like so often we see, like when we go from one matchup to the other, despite the fact that it's different teams, we still end up kind of getting a lot of the same repeats. But let's go ahead and get down to it. Mission Wall is going to be where we're going.
Hey, I mean, similar logic applying though, right? Symmetra over the bridge, have one funnel to go through. Sure, the Tracer's going to be over to the side, the Genji's going to dash in, but you can run that Simtorb that we've been seeing. Honestly, W pick. If that's the strategy you're going for, this is the best chance you have to let it succeed just by playing how it's generally supposed to. You don't even need to do anything crazy.
So let me ask you this question then. Since obviously Lebanon got to pick the map, I do believe that means Westmont Hilltop get to pick their side. With the dominance that we had seen from Westmont Hilltop here, while I know usually we say you like to start on the offense, be able to give yourself a very clear and concise finish line to be able to hold the squad too, do you feel like being able to kind of stifle them on the defensive side might be enough to be able to take the air out of their sails if you're Westmont Hilltop?
I mean, the simple, kind of straightforward, somewhat painful logic, but it's the truth is, well, if they have so much confidence that they can hold the spawn doors in the last map, they might just want to go defensive here so they can get the 4 minutes done and over with and then not have to go down the rest of the map, right? It's as simple as we want to go home, so we're going to do whatever is a smaller sample size that we would need to demonstrate, right? Because if you do elongate it, you give them more chances to then pick you apart. Maybe you stifle 1 or 2 pushes and then that snowballs, right? But if you can condense it down to just the 4 minutes and then you have 4 minutes on your own right to win one singular fight, you'd have to assume that's the option they go with.
I know I got to run into Moose FPS down at the Land of Steel, not this past weekend, but the weekend before. And they were telling me they felt pretty darn confident in the fact that they were able to that they were going to be able to send a majority of their teams, if not all of their teams, towards that conference finals once everything's all said and done here at the end of the semester. I had said they entered into today at 1-1. I do believe they had a tougher matchup in their first week's competition, if I'm not mistaken, when it came to regular PIEA action. But I think as far as for them, knowing that they have that confidence, I'm going to be looking forward to see just how quickly they can wrap things up here, because it's no disrespect to Lebanon, but it's just a squad when it comes to their Overwatch program. We just haven't been able to see much success out of their short-lived program just quite yet. Whereas Westmont Hilltop, Overwatch has been their game. They've got some teams and some other titles for sure, but it always feels like the Hilltoppers, if there's one of their titles that they like really show up and show out in, it's Overwatch 2. So this matchup right here could very well be done in 2 maps.
Very well could, but we hope for obviously the longer series of Overwatch, more content, more chances for Lebanon to prove to us what they're really made of. And even if they do get stopped short, we don't want to see them, you know, just crash and burn, right? We don't want them calling GG a bit too early. We want them to prove that they have what it takes, or at least can go for as long as they need to, play hard until the very end. And well, if that doesn't work, well, then you're back to the drawing board. But you can learn from this, right? You have enough content to then VOD reviews say, okay, this is what we need to be doing instead. And that gives you a bit more of an advantage towards your next matchup, whether it's against this team again or just a different one.
How do you feel about this Wrecking Ball pick? I'm trying to think about it. Trying to figure it out myself. On defense? It seems odd, no?
Well, in the stream that I did this past weekend, we saw the same thing when the stakes were very similar, might I say. So I can see what they're going for. I'm not sure how it's going to pay off, but I'm going to let them have their fun, and then we can judge them afterwards.
Oh, there They're almost able to find that first pick. Instead, it's moved to FBX. That does end up falling first. Lennon trying to be a nuisance. We'll be able to get back to safety. I guess maybe the thought idea is you can get high to the sky and make those rotations a little bit easier from one lane towards the other. Sweeping and swooping their way on through, though, and with no tank in the front line, it does kind of give Lava Shark free pickings to go towards the back line. The only problem is they haven't been able to find any openings, and now with both them and Talib both down, Lebanon's going to have to retreat.
I mean, the beauty of at least what this Westmont Hilltop composition is going for is the fact that even though you do not have that frontline pressure, you have so much damage coming out in the form of a Junkrat that even if you do put up a shield, it's going to be gone relatively quickly, right? You can only hold there and scale up for as long as possible. Lava Shark gonna get taken down by a melee there, and yeah, it hurts, but now you got to adapt to a whole nother different set of compositions.
I'm sorry, I should laugh there, but to me it just looked like Lennon was on the other side of the shield, like, I know that thing's coming down, just wait. And then all of a sudden it goes down, and they're taken out. Looks like Lebanon gonna take their horse down the Old Town Road, gonna bring Orisa out into play. I like the idea for the more sustainability. You had mentioned that big damage output that we've been seeing from Westmont Hilltop thus far. Let's see if it pays off for him here.
I mean, Riptire, surely that's some value, and it's going to be popped most likely if Lennon goes down here, which I say as they should have gone down based on their HP and their positioning, but somehow Ball's doing ball things, manages to just get in and out with a sliver of HP, and then goes right back in, has a bit more fun. But there's at least the first pick on a Tony Zamboni, so something to maybe snowball off in terms of the front line.
Oh, well, there's the ult that'll get things started. The only thing, though, is Lennon's up here all by themselves. That's confidence that we're seeing from this young man right now, and we'll still play right up against the Orisa. Keep this squad pushed back. It's 145 left. Valerie already down, and my goodness gracious, they're really struggling on that Lebanon side.
It's just the mines where they're not going anywhere, and sometimes you forget about them, or you get booped into them, or somebody uses a big old concussive mine right next to you, and then you feel the pain and the burn. Moose, no, don't do it to him, right? Surely you don't just peek over with your emote, which is exactly what we know they're doing, and then choosing a timing to use a pulse bomb.
Oh, here it goes. Let's see what they can figure out. Get yourself one. That's all they're able to get, but it is a big one. It is one of your two supports. Right now, Moose still doing a great job up by themselves. Here's the Riptire looking to come into play here, but the problem is everyone's back inside their doors.
Oh no, Displayed gets taken out by the pulse bomb, comes out again after the respawn timer, and then dies to a Riptire. Now the Orisa's off the map. It's just pain everywhere.
Oh, the can's open. There's beans everywhere. Lebanon just can't seem to get any sort of control. Displayed does have an ult at their disposal if they might be able to open things up here. There's one pushing forward. Moose is all up in their face, and now it looks like everyone's going to start to fall. Displays to leap. Lava Shark, Savage Fury also down. Valerie, surely the last domino, falls here shortly thereafter. It's 15 seconds away, and it looks like they were able to do exactly what we talked about during the break here. They started on the defense. They've had them pushed back against the door. It's at 0%. All they're going to have to do is get a third of the point capped.
Show me Tony. Can we get Tony for the last few seconds? I want to see if they hit a nice little Widowmaker grapple shot. Oh, well, it was a Venom Mine. That's something, right? Surely. Well, either way, this one done and dusted as we expect. No, Dylan. No, not GG. Yeah, it was a typo. GR. Okay,
great round.
Better.
Great round. Great round. Yeah, we'll take the good round ski there. Showing the good sportsmanship, but the problem here now is Lebanon is going to have to find that same sort of pressure that the Hilltoppers had on defense and be able to duplicate it here. And it's just going, I mean, from what we've seen through the first map and a half so far, I just don't see the turn being made.
Yeah, I mean, are we going to assume that Lennon goes on the wrecking ball again, right? I'm just expecting...
Why wouldn't you? I feel like it found it to work so much the first time around. Yeah, you've switched sides, but you can still play aggressive with the rest of this team composition that they're putting by their side, and it looks like that is exactly what they're going for here.
Unironically, the comp that they had first clicked on, I could have told you every single character that they would have went, because I feel like they're going for pure speed just to get to the point as fast as possible and just swap sides completely, right? Lebanon, it looks like they're playing for some sort of sustainability, right? Trying to hold this choke, but if you kind of ignore it and just go over it or past it with as quick as possible, it's not really going to matter. So Lennon, I'm expecting to go back onto the ball, honestly, here. I'm not expecting the Sigma to stay. But again, we didn't expect the ball in the first place, so you know what? Just go ahead and walk out the doors at that point.
I think it's a pick for me. He knows I like watching my dad. Can't tell me you don't see the family resemblance when we get back to my camera. I'll go the side profile so y'all can check it out. But unfortunately for Westmont Hilltop, Big Hoss, the first one to fall. Savage Fury doing a great job up in the sky and being able to poke and prod from a distance. And well, early on, at least, Lebanon able to keep themselves some resistance, but it only needed a third. It's that simple for Westmont.
Yeah, and that's what I was thinking was going to happen. Just the pure speed goes past, disregard the choke, and, well, it's just to zoom back to the point. And a C9, a funny letter number. Moose here, this should be what I thought was going to be the pulse bomb, but no, instead just another example of their value in these certain fights. This little pre-fire out of the ice block, but yeah. Really, just again, Westmont Hilltop, they didn't really need to do anything out of the books. They just played their game plan and it worked.
They came in, they had a game plan. I almost feel bad for making them wait because I feel like they waited a lot longer than that game ended up lasting here. But man, Westmont Hilltop, they look good. And I had mentioned, I talked to Moose down at the Land of Steel, and they had said they felt like they were going to have a good chance of sending quite a few of their teams across their couple of titles. And at least as far as their D2 Overwatch squad, from what we've seen today, I can't say that I doubt them for real.
You're telling me that's D2, right?
Yeah.
Like, obviously I know it is, but really? I mean, that's a team. Now maybe it's just Lebanon didn't have a good day, or maybe aren't the toughest opponents statistically, but like, that's a team that, in my eyes, from the game they just showed us, have the capability to not only beat Division 1, but even win Division 1. I mean, it looks really dang good. And if they can win on Ball, a character that really isn't that much meta anymore, who's to say they can't win when they're actually playing the meta?
Kind of curious who their one loss was to. I have a sneaking suspicion that it was probably to Elizabethtown, who's our #1 seed right now in Division 2. I unfortunately can't seem to get the website to cooperate with me in time while I'm trying to build more time here. Speaking more, yeah, no, it's not working. Sorry, I was trying to see if I can get it going on. If I had to guess, though, it was probably Elizabethtown or Central Bucks South, as they are the two squads right now sitting at 1 and 2 who have yet to lose a map. Because the way that Westmont Hilltop looked here, I just can't see anyone else. So we'll definitely be keeping an eye on them moving forward. And as I had mentioned at the top of things here today, Ari, as we do conclude play today, at least as far as for Overwatch, because yeah, this is week number 4. Week number 2, we had a holiday, so that's technically getting played at the end of the semester, or at the end of everything as far as the schedule. So for Overwatch, we're now officially halfway there, and I think for our 2 squads that walked away with dubs today, they got to be feeling pretty good about themselves moving down the back half.
Yeah, I mean, 2 teams, obviously one matchup a little bit closer, but I think we could even say 3 teams happy with their performance. The 4th, obviously, right, we talked about just a learning experience. They've got to go on a little bit farther and get that experience just in the server down a bit further. I think everybody's got solid chances at doing whatever they feel they need to accomplish, because again, you put that effort in, you have the students for it, even the staff, the coaches, the parents, and it works out in dividends. That will be it for the games today, because we've only had 2 series, Q.
Yeah, it looked like we were going to be maybe able to sneak a third one onto the broadcast. Does look like that made it over onto PIEA02. I think both that one and the mainstream will have third matchups as far as for the day. But of course, week number 4 just getting kicked off. We got plenty more action this week. We've got Rocket League tomorrow, Valorant on Wednesday. We've got a couple of different titles between Marvel Rivals and Fortnite, as well as middle school Rocket League on Thursday. So hope to catch you guys tune on. And if it's your first time over here on the second stream, PIEA01, if you haven't already done so, hit that follow button down in the bottom right hand corner and turn those notifications on. That way we can catch y'all whenever we go back live, as well as this is one of our streams that has our Night Owl streams as well for some of our collegiate action. So we'd love to catch you back as far as that goes. Ari, an absolute blast as always to be able to jump up on the mic with you, friend. But you know what, we're really do get the easy jobs. Got to make sure we're giving a big shout out to Echo working behind the screen, giving us the vibes, giving us the views. Without Echo giving us those, we're just kind of here yelling at a screen, only guessing what happens. So it really does take teamwork to make the dream work. Big shout out to all of our teachers and staff across the great state of Pennsylvania as well. That does allow for these students to have a cool after-school program like this here at PIEA. And until we do get to catch y'all back for the next one, man, don't forget, with everything crazy going on in the world today, be true, be you, be sincere, game hard and love hard. All right, y'all, that's Ari. I'm Q. For the rest of the crew, we're from the front to the back. Y'all have a great rest of your week. Peace.